Hold on, Romain. When have you ever seen 40% cut to headcount?
I'm a little surprised by this. I'm actually looking through the release right now. I don't know if this has something to do with some of the drama that we've been reporting on about the future of this company, whether this is about productivity and AI. Jack Dorsey, of course, has not been very vocal about exactly what's been going on there, but we talk about a company that we know has been trying to go through some sort of restructuring. We have to find out the exact reasons why. But I mean, you look at the investor reaction there, Tim. I don't know if you have a TV screen in front of you, but about 15% pop in the shares on that.
Well, when you're paying, when your workforce is declined by more than 40%, your salaries are going to be going down. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why we're seeing that reaction right now. But yeah, we're going to have to dig into this more because that is a big headcount cut announcement.
Big headcount count.
Is that AI at work?
I don't know.
That's what the Bloomberg story says. Jack Dorsey's blog slashes nearly half the workforce in AI. But I also want to talk sticking on AI, the information reporting a few minutes ago that Meta has scrapped their most advanced AI training chip. Stock's not really reacting, but says that according to information, Meta now is shifting their focus to less complicated versions. So they're kind of leaning into competing with NVIDIA, maybe a little bit more complex than expected.
All right, and the AI parade continues. CoreWeave out with its latest results. The stock is lower in the aftermarket. CoreWeave fourth quarter revenue $1.57 billion. That's a little bit better than the street estimate of $1.55 billion, but we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that one. 5.5% lower in the aftermarket. All right, guys, that's around busy aftermarket earnings there and stocks on the move. That'll do it for us. Our cross-platform program, of course, is called The Closing Bell. Bailey and Romain continuing there on the Close on TV, and Tim and I continuing right here on Bloomberg Business Week Daily on Bloomberg Radio. Guys, we'll see you again, same time, same place tomorrow.
This is Bloomberg Business Week Daily, reporting from the magazine that helps global leaders stay ahead, with insight on the people, companies, and trends shaping today's complex economy, plus global business, finance, and tech news as it happens. Bloomberg Business Week Daily with Carol Masser and Tim Stenbeck, live on Bloomberg Radio, television, YouTube, and Bloomberg Originals.
I do want to just peel back that block headline real quick.
Yeah.
40% of nearly half of work. Jack Dorsey's blog slashes nearly half of workforce in AI. That's we see announcements of 6% of a workforce cut, 10% of a workforce cut. This is huge. They're cutting 4,000 employees, reducing workforce by close to half. The fintech firm is placing a bet on AI changing the future of labor productivity. Block has been restructuring its business model and staffing since 2024 as the company's stock has lagged. At the same time, the company has invested heavily in AI to run more efficiently, including building its own tool called Goose. Everyone has questions about what does AI mean for my job?
Well, is that a bet, or they're doing it because they have already done things and they can say, we can do this without a lot of people? We have a lot of questions. We're covering Dell, we're covering Zscaler, we're covering CoreWeave. Mandeep Singh is in the house, Global Head of Technology Research for Bloomberg Intelligence. We're going to throw a lot at him, and you could say, got nothing, got something.
He always has something.
He
Even if the company
does.
doesn't cover,
I know.
he has something for us.
Do you have some thoughts on Block?
Well, I think you will see layoffs in tech driven by AI. Now, in this case, it's hard to parse through whether AI has led them to do this or it's just underperformance and they are doing this, just to fix their cost structure. But
I mean, hoping that they can get by without it, or
because revenue per employee will be a big metric. I mean, when you look at the likes of OpenAI and Anthropic, Anthropic has scaled to $15 billion in revenue with less than 5,000 employees. So now you will be benchmarked against companies like this that have a much higher revenue per employee, and I think that is going to trickle down to the whole of tech space.
So it raises a lot of questions. I want to go to what Jack Dorsey wrote, and it's quoted in our piece by Emily Mason here. He's, of course, of Square, Block, and also of Twitter. He writes, quote, "Intelligence tools have changed what it means to build and run a company. We're already seeing it internally. A significantly smaller team using the tools we're building can do it more and do it better." That's basically what you said about using Anthropic as an example of this. But it raises a lot of existential questions about what a workforce looks like in the future, Mandeep. And is this an example of what we are going to see from tech companies? And is it going to destroy certain segments of the workforce?
I mean, we saw, I think, the first iteration of it when Elon Musk bought Twitter, with X, which is now merged with XAI and now SpaceX. But he cut 70% of the workforce within a few months of him acquiring the company. And the platform, I mean, we know that ad revenue went down and whatnot, but it's still working pretty well. And so since then, I feel that culture, or at least that notion, has kind of percolated in terms of what tech companies could do in terms of OpEx efficiency. And all these tools are supposed to make you more productive. So
Okay, we're freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Can we
Thank you.
extrapolate
I know
it?
that we're freaking out here.
Well, we keep talking tech companies, but can we extrapolate it that, we are such a data-driven, every business is data-driven. Can we extrapolate and say we're gonna see this in lots of different industries?
I mean, yes, it's early days, but
Yeah.
when you think about, coding agent, like now every developer is supposed to be at least, 50%, 60% more productive because of coding agents. Now, would that apply universally to all the categories? Probably not. But there are a lot of categories where you will see that sort of productivity, and then what does that mean in terms of employee growth going forward?
Right.
And I think some companies will do that proactively.
Okay, so I want your.
Are you still on this?
I'm totally.
Are you gonna move off?
No, I'm not moving off this.
There are other earnings we wanna
There
talk
are,
about.
but in all seriousness, I mean, we have kids around the same age.
Yes.
And I know you think about technology a lot. What is the world we need to prepare them for?
Well,
And
clearly,
again, you don't have the choice of saying pass here. I'm gonna make your choice.
no, but I mean, we grew up in a world where obviously the kids are handed iPads in kindergarten.
Yeah.
So clearly, technology is a big part of what they're growing up with, and this will be a very smart generation if they use tools productively. But then there are other aspects, and we are removing the guardrails from the LLMs now. At least Anthropic has been forced to remove the guardrails. So you have to ask yourself, it can be misused, and because this is Wikipedia 100 times more in terms of what they have to offer as tools, right? And so you can ask any question, and it will give you an answer.
Okay.
Are you moving on? You're in the Z-scale?
I need to move on for my
We
sanity.
should say that shares are higher, block shares are higher by 22%. You need to get rid of
Okay.
half the people you're paying for. It shows the efficiency. Like, there's no better example of like the world that we live in when a company slashes
Yeah.
the workforce by close to half and the stock rises more than 20%.
All right. So then, I'm gonna put you.
Okay.
It's gonna be okay. Tim. It's gonna be okay. Or maybe not. It won't be. I don't know. I'm gonna go to, I think, CoreWeave. I think we should talk that. We talk about the neo clouds. It's down about 5% in the aftermarket. What's going on? Because I feel like this is again another good indicator of kind of the AI build.
I mean, on a day when Nvidia had such a stunning beat,
Right.
the stock was down. So I'm not surprised CoreWeave is down. But when you look at the numbers, a company with $5 billion in revenue, with a $67 billion backlog number, when Jensen Huang told us that all his chips have a very long life in terms of the usefulness, it's more than 6 years.
Right.
Who's the biggest beneficiary of that? It's a name like CoreWeave, because they have all of NVIDIA's older chips,
Right.
newer chips with a very extended useful life in this environment where everyone is supply constrained. So to my mind, this is more of a knee-jerk reaction in terms of stock, but clearly 67 billion backlog is huge, in terms of revenue visibility.
Okay, we have some breaking news, and then we're going to ask one question about Zscaler. Warner Brothers Discovery Board determines Paramount's revised proposal is superior. The Netflix merger agreement remains in effect. Netflix now has a 4-day match period.
The ball is in your
The
court.
ball is in your
Netflix.
court. Okay, very briefly, Manjeet, Zscaler reported revenue for the second quarter beat the average analyst estimate. Shares in the after hours. I'm pulling them up right now. We're going to have the CEO on the
They're down about 4.7%.
immediate reaction.
Yeah, I mean, look, Palo Alto told us their SASE grew 40%, same thing with Fortinet. So 26% is not that impressive. So we need to learn why is this sandbagged or just any competitive pressures? But yeah, it was an inline quarter.
Thank you. Mandeep Singh
Everybody need like.
is everywhere with us. A reminder, the company's CEO, CCO, CFA Chaudhry, on with us tomorrow. Don't miss that interview. This is the first.
It's 421 on Wall Street. We do ship markets all day long here at Bloomberg. Key developments in the battle for Warner Brothers Discovery. WBD now says a new offer from Paramount Skydance is a better deal for shareholders than the one it agreed to earlier with Netflix. This determination means that Netflix will now have 4 business days to come up with a new offer that beats Paramount or lose the bidding for one of the industry's most storied film and TV studios. Earnings news after the bell, keeping an eye on Dell Technologies. Shares surging now by 10.7% after hours. Dell gave an outlook for annual sales of its AI servers that exceeded estimates. Jack Dorsey's block cutting 4,000 employees. reducing its workforce by nearly half as the financial tech firm places a bet on AI changing the future of labor productivity. Also, another major story we're keeping an eye on, Caesars Entertainment shares jumped 19% today after an FT report with the casino companies weighing takeover bids, including a bid from Texas gaming and hospitality billionaire Tillman Fertitta. Again, Caesars up today by 19%. The Dow higher, eking out a gain of under 0.1%. Little changed on the day. Dow Industrials up 17 today, but Netflix weighed on the rest of the. Nvidia weighed on the rest of the market today. Nvidia was down 5.5%. S&P ended the session down 0.5, lower by 37 points, back above 6,900, 6,908 on the S&P. Nasdaq down 1.2% today. The Nasdaq 100 index also down 1.2%, and the Russell 2000 index of small cap shares up by 0.5%. 10-year 4.00%, with a 2-year 3.43%. Gold up 0.5%, 51.92 the ounce. West Texas Intermediate crude 65.48 a barrel, and Bitcoin down 2.3%. 67,378 on a Bitcoin. Again, recapping here. S&P down 0.5%. Nvidia ending the day down 5.5%. I'm Charlie Carrollton. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Hey, Charlie. Thanks so much for that update. We're spending like the next 40 minutes talking about Anthropic and AI.
Yeah, because I think it's safe to say that things feel like they're happening faster and the guardrails aren't there, government oversight isn't there, we're trying to figure it out, and it's increasingly invading all walks of our world, including defense, national intelligence, like that area, and it gets a little nervous that if you don't necessarily have a human overseeing things, can technology kind of run off and do stuff? This is what we're trying to figure out.
One of our favorite humans is Katrina Manson. She's the reporter who covers tech and national security for Bloomberg News. She's part of the team that worked on today's big take. It's also one of the most read stories on the Bloomberg terminal. It focuses on the high stakes conflict between the Defense Department and Anthropic, the $380 billion tech powerhouse. She joins us here in the Bloomberg Interactive Brokers studio. I gotta say, I love the way this story opens, and we've spoken to you quite a bit over the last few weeks.
I thought it was terrifying.
I mean, terrifying but gripping.
Yes.
And it's like this scenario where a nuclear missile is coming at the United States, and the only thing that can stop it, no, it's not the president's briefcase, it's Claude or Anthropic. How did this go, and how did you find this anecdote?
We should note this is a very hyperbolic hypothesis. This is being used to put pressure
Yes,
on
I
Anthropic.
should note it's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
It's a hypothesis.
But-
This is not happening.
Okay, we report that the conversation happened. So imagine you're back in December, a Pentagon official, senior Pentagon official, is talking to the CEO of Anthropic, trying to say, please take the safeguards of your AI. You could be the difference between a missile hurtling in with only 90 seconds to hit, being deflected through an AI-triggered response or not. And if you don't take the safeguards of your AI, we're going to get got. It's a very unlikely scenario. But what I think is so interesting about putting pressure on Anthropic that way, as we report, is this idea that AI, one, can save the day, could be relied on to defuse an incoming missile, and that there's some kind of problem that the CEO of a private company worth $380 billion could save the country from better than the President of the United States. We're getting into kind of wild ideas, but very senior people are talking about it back and forth, trying to work out, is AI going to save us or not?
Okay, so as you guys did this deep dive and this back and forth, walk us through kind of the process a little bit of what was going back and forth, because it feels like Anthropic has turned and done a 180 on something that they consider really important to them, right?
Well, the weird thing is there's not actually that much difference between what Pentagon is saying it wants to do and what Anthropic is saying it wants to do. However, there's an enormous fight over it.
Okay.
And Anthropic could be cut out of the supply chain or even have wartime authorities forced on it so that it is forced to supply its AI. So you've got the Pentagon saying two very direct, dramatic things. If you don't play our game and do it our way, we won't use you, and we'll force you to supply AI. So they're saying both things at once.
Yeah.
Now, Anthropic's position is we already supply our AI tool, Claude, to the Pentagon on the classified cloud. They were the first to do this. So Anthropic actually, for all of its safety conscious positioning, which you know they spun out of OpenAI saying we need more safety, we need to really worry about the end of the world, also was prepared to work with the Pentagon on the classified cloud. The classified cloud is where the Pentagon fights wars. So Anthropic is already deeply involved in wartime operations, whatever AI is doing on those platforms. They, however, have two red lines. We do not want our AI used in mass surveillance of the American people, and we do not want our AI used in autonomous swarming drones, which isn't particularly happening yet.
Yeah.
But they're worried that it could come, and as we've reported recently, the Pentagon is trying to create this, and they don't want their AI used in it because they don't think it's reliable. The Pentagon's like, hey, we make the rules, we will use your AI lawfully, end of story.
Does the government really have a choice? Because I do think about defense contractors. Part of the reason they want to be defense contractors in any form that they are, or even traditional sense, but even now in a higher tech world, is that once you're kind of in, you're in, right? And you get involved in the system. So is the government, the Defense Department, so involved already in Anthropic that they don't really have a choice? Like, I'm just curious who
It's
has
a
that upper
really
hand.
good point. So the Pentagon is meant to always have options for precisely this kind of reason. If you talk to any Marine, they'll say, we always need 3 backups.
Yeah,
And suddenly the Pentagon
redundancy is really important in this stuff.
suddenly the Pentagon finds itself in a position where Claude is the most favored of all the AI tools currently used on the cloud. It was the first to get there. It's not the only one operating on classified networks. There's some reporting out there that suggests it's the only one. That's not correct. But I think it's the only one on the cloud. Very speedily, the Pentagon's trying to get XAI on. They just struck a deal, we've reported, with Grok to get them onto the cloud. And they're trying to get OpenAI onto the classified cloud.
You and the team read in the piece that Anthropic was reportedly used during the U.S. operation to capture Venezuelan strongman Nicolas Maduro. For somebody who doesn't understand the intricacies of the Pentagon's relationship with Anthropic, can you explain how that tech would be used in an operation such as that?